Here's some news I did not expect to see. I don't know how I feel about this. We'll get into that. But apparently, if you remember the 90s, Comedy Central is bringing back several old properties, including Beavis and Butt-Head. They are returning with 2 new seasons and spin-offs at Comedy Central. One of the spin-offs, I don't know. So here's the thing. This is going to be a rebooted reimagining of Beavis and Butt-Head. So I don't know what that's going to look like, and we'll get into that. But another property coming back is this. This is a spin-off of Daria, starring Tracy Ellis Ross, and that's landing on Comedy Central as well. It's going to be called Jody, and will be produced by MTV Studios, apparently. But it's all going to be on Comedy Central, which isn't that crazy if you think about it, because MTV and Comedy Central are owned by CBS Viacom, or Viacom CBS, I'm sorry. So CBS owns both networks. They're just moving them from MTV over to Comedy Central, which is probably a better home for them anyway. Now, I don't know how I feel about this. This is pretty interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because I don't know if you necessarily could do that show today because everybody is so sensitive and gets so butthurt about everything. They tried to bring this show back in 2011, had a short season. I thought some of it was pretty funny, but they only gave it 1 season, so it must not have been that successful. So the problem here is, will they bend the knee? Will they try to keep this walking a line? Now, South Park, you can say, doesn't, but South Park has kind of been grandfathered in. People try to cancel it every now and then. Dana Schwartz tried to cancel South Park, and it failed. Everybody laughed at her. Another show that seems kind of grandfathered in is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They say some pretty crazy stuff over on that show as well. And they seem to just let it go. But I wonder, are they going to be okay with this show coming in? If you remember, so I don't really watch Rick and Morty, but they did a joke with 2 towers that looked very similar to the old Twin Towers Trade Center. And the one thing that happened with that joke is it got everybody all upset. Now, I don't think, that's kind of the point of comedy, though, is to push emotion. So I wonder, a show like that has people upset. So how is this show going to work? And it's going to be reimagined. So this is a reboot. It's not really returning. This is a new version of the show. So let's go ahead and look at the story here. Creator Mike Judge will oversee the updated series with a plan already in place for spin-offs and specials of the former MTV pop culture phenomenon. Now, what I wonder here is, so they're thinking this is going to be huge. They're giving it spin-offs and specials. That's the plan anyway. To introduce a bunch of characters and see if we can spin off shows. And I don't think it's the best idea to go into the show trying to figure out ways to milk it. You don't know if this is going to be a success. You should focus on making this show a success and then maybe consider milking it like, they like to do in Hollywood and entertainment in general. They're doing this because shows like Family Guy are extremely profitable. That's why they're doing this. That's why they're bringing this back. In my opinion, I kind of think that they should just let it rest. Though I do like Mike Judge, and since he's coming back to run it, maybe this can work, but we will see. So let's go over the story here and get an idea of what's going to happen. Comedy Central is summoning the Great Cornholio. The Viacom CBS-owned cable network is reviving Beavis and Butt-Head, with series creator Mike Judge returning to relaunch and reimagine the franchise as part of a sizable deal that includes a 2-season order and plans for additional spin-offs and specials. Judge will return as the show's central driving force and will write, produce, and provide voiceover for both of the iconic characters who became pop culture sensations in the early 90s on Comedy Central's corporate sibling MTV. In the new version, Beavis and Butthead will enter a whole new Gen Z world with meta themes that are said to be relatable to both new fans who may be unfamiliar with the original series and old. So that's the big thing there is I wonder, like I said, is this a reboot? Is this a retelling? And not a retelling so much. Are they just going to update the world around the characters, or are they remaking the series? I don't know. They're not very clear. It sounds like they're just bringing them into the new age, but I don't know if that'll work very well. They tried to essentially do that in 2011, and it didn't seem to work very well as far as ratings. So I'm not sure what's going on here, and they're not very clear with it. But the one thing that I like is that Mike Judge is writing it, producing it, and doing the voiceover work. So maybe this could work. We'll see. I'm very interested in what you guys have to say about this. Like, what are your thoughts? Make sure you leave me your thoughts in the comments and tell me what you guys think, because I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on this. I really like those characters. I like that old show. So if it can work, great. I would love to see, I would love to see these characters come back. But at the same time, I'm also thinking, why not just make something new? I think Mike Judge has made some really funny stuff in his time and could create a new animated series that could be its own thing instead of going back and grabbing these characters. But nostalgia is very powerful, and I would imagine that that's largely the reason that they're just grabbing these characters and bringing them back. So we are thrilled to be working with Mike Judge and the great team at 3 Arts again as we double down on adult animation at Comedy Central, said Chris McCarthy, who oversees Viacom, CBS Entertainment, and Youth Group as president. Beavis and Butt-Head were a defining voice of a generation, and we can't wait to watch as they navigate the treacherous water of a world light years from their own. The new take on the teenage couch potatoes comes less than 10 days after Comedy Central became the home of Jody, the adult animated series that is a spinoff of Daria, which itself was an offshoot of Judge's Beavis and Butt-Head. Beavis and Butt-Head, like the Tracy Ellis Ross-led Jody, hails from MTV Studios, the in-house division launched 2 years ago by McCarthy with a larger goal to monetize the company's vast library and sell it to third-party buyers, with McCarthy now overseeing Comedy Central, MTV, and a slew of other cable brands at the company. He's now returning the studio into a content supplier of his own. So they go in to talk about the series and how it had a movie and stuff, and it was a pretty big deal. I just wonder how well this will work. And it definitely could, and you get a lot of nostalgia, right? You're getting a nostalgic piece of pop culture that had video games, movies, successful show, merchandise. I mean, all of that is coming back. I would imagine you're going to see a revival of shirts, and I don't know about video games and stuff, but they could always repackage the ones that already exist and release those again. I don't know. But there's money to be made here, and that's what it all comes down to, is making money. The only saving grace is that Mike Judge is back and running the show. So hopefully this will work out. I mean, if it works out, great. I'd love to watch some good Beavis and Butt-Head again, and we'll see. One thing that has me kind of thinking is when they said, we're bringing these characters back to go through treacherous water from a world far from their own. So that makes me wonder, is it going to be the characters walking around in today's world? Or are you reimagining them and rebooting them and making them new and different characters? They're not very clear on that. And it sounds like it could be both. Or, it'll be one or the other. I don't know. But like I said, Mike Judge coming back makes me think that this could work. So we'll see. We'll see. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on this? Do you think it'll work? Do you think it'll fail? Do you care? Do you remember the original series? What were your favorite episodes? Tell me what you remember about the show. Do you think that the show can actually successfully run in today's woke PC culture? That's another question. Will it be able to do that? Give me your thoughts on all that. Also, if you would, throw a like up, share the video. Make sure you still subscribe. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell, and I will see all of you on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that and subscribe if you're new.